Hey, what's good, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Life in Lanes. I've been wanting to start this for a little bit now. It took me longer than anticipated to figure out proper audio and video and all that stuff, but I think I got it figured out now. I'm excited to do this. This was inspired by my two biggest interests, my two biggest passions, I guess, and that's been riding this motorcycle and just talking about life and analyzing life and all different ways to navigate certain situations, proper perspectives to have in certain situations, and certain strategies towards certain decision making and goals that we set for ourselves, the consequences of decisions, whether it be good or bad. And yeah, so that's mostly what this channel is going to be focused on. I started life on two wheels when I was a teen. I grew up riding downhill mountain bikes, and then eventually that evolved into riding dirt bikes in my mid-20s until eventually I could afford to get this big bucket list thing of mine, which was owning this Harley Davidson. I always wanted a Harley as long as I could remember. I want to say I was maybe 11 or 12. I grew up in a different province, but we'd always come back here to South Central BC when I was a kid, because this is where I was born and this is where my family grew up. And yeah, we'd come back here, visit our family and friends. And I remember specifically one summer my dad was visiting one of his buddies and he had a couple bikes. I can't remember if they were Harleys or not. I want to say they were, but they were cruisers nonetheless. And I remember them rolling out of the driveway thinking how awesome that looked, how fun it looked, and now I couldn't wait till I was old enough to get a bike of my own. So yeah, when I turned 28, I finally got to get my motorcycle, and I haven't looked back since. This is my 9th season riding. Absolutely love it just as much today as I did 9 years ago. There's just nothing like the freedom and peace and the presence that riding highways and roads seems to put you in. So I did end up deciding on this motorcycle basically right before the time came. I wasn't sure for the longest time what kind of bike I wanted. I knew I wanted a Harley, wasn't sure what model. But when the time came, a friend of mine was showing me bobbers, which are basically any type of motorcycle that are turned into minimalistic motorcycles where they strip everything off of it, with fairings, bags obviously, and even chopping fenders, removing anything bulky off the bike and making it a specific look. And I remember seeing them thinking, wow, those look awesome, and that's definitely what I wanted. Then I found out that Harley Davidson had a model that was kind of inspired by that culture, the bobber culture, and it was called the Street Bob. So that's what I ended up getting, and I ended up customizing it a little bit further to make it the certain aesthetic that I wanted it to look. And yeah, I've been riding this thing ever since. It's treated me well, put a lot of kilometers on it. As for my interest in life and just figuring out the best strategies and best ways, best decision making and approaches towards all things, and just perspective and mindset, all that stuff, really became interested in it after a major tribulation in my life when I was 21 years old. I know a lot of you watching this probably know the story, so I'm not going to go into it, but I was just left so unprepared and unequipped for what life threw at me. And to be honest, I felt like a fool. I felt like a bit of an idiot when it happened to me, to just not have even anticipated that anything like that could happen. And to be honest, like, I wasn't equipped or prepared for really any kind of adversity. I was really fortunate to have grown up until then, like, living a fairly decent life, very little adversity and trauma. But after I went through it, what I went through, it was just a major life lesson for me really early on, that I needed to figure out proper strategies. I needed to figure out how to be more proactive, anticipate, all sorts of things that life can throw you, so that I wouldn't be near as reactive as I was when I went through what I did. I just feel like I could have processed what I went through a lot better and more efficiently. It pretty much ate up my entire 20s, trying to get through it, and all the lessons that I kind of taught myself to try and navigate it and adapt. So yeah, that's why I'm so interested in it, and also I believe, like, if you use it, or if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So I constantly am looking at different hypothetical situations, how I would navigate it. Like I said, just always checking certain perspectives, making sure my current perspective matches the current situation I'm in, or if it needs to be readjusted or a new one needs to be adopted. And I became so interested in this that I did end up getting an education in life coaching to further strategies and tools to navigate all sorts of things, especially even just goals. Sometimes it's not even just going through something, but trying to go towards something and mapping out the best way to get to it. So yeah, I plan on sharing a bunch of those things that I've learned in my school as well, and what I've also worked with other clients. So shortly after I got this motorcycle in 2015, I ended up packing everything up in the province I was in, and I came back home to beautiful Okanagan, BC, packed up the Harley, and I moved in with my aunt and uncle for a summer. And I just went on a huge personal development phase. I went on a cliche soul search as well. And yeah, there's just a lot that I wanted to get figured out. I mean, there's still a lot left to sort out when it came to my mental health at the time, and it was a new chapter in my life. I really wanted to figure out what the future was going to look like going forward. And I figured, what better place than home? I mean, this is also a highly sought out tourist destination in the summer. Just being surrounded by vineyards and orchards and some of the most beautiful lakes, there's just nothing like it riding through all this. And it's mostly what I did when I was here in the summer. I came here, I rode with no destination, and would just explore and just learn to be good with my own company. It was one of my main focuses while I was here, was learning to be good on my own. I was never good with just sitting alone with my head. I had spent years trying to distract myself or escape my head with substances and everything. So I came here and made sure I remained sober while I was here. I was going to the gym twice a day. I was stopping at beaches with my own company and just reflecting with a lot of introspection. And yeah, it was a beautiful time, a pivotal time in my life. And because of it, this place here in Okanagan, BC, aside from the fact this is home, but just that year that I came here, and that was the first year I had this bike, and the amount of riding I did, both these things just have sentimental value, this place and this motorcycle. And I'm just so fortunate and happy to be living here now for half a year at a time, and hopefully figure out how to live here full time one day. So I've been trying to figure out for a little bit now how to put this type of content, subject matter out there again. I used to put this type of stuff out, these type of topics on Instagram back when it was just like photos and written captions years ago. And then when the format leaned more towards video across all platforms, I just wasn't sure what to do with it. I was always way more comfortable and better at getting points across in written word, not so good at speaking and being on video and all that stuff. So I came across motovlogging, and a lot of these guys, they end up miking up their helmets. They do like death-defying speed runs or do cross-country tours and vlog their whole trip, or they do motorcycle reviews. And when I came across this, it just gave me the idea that maybe this summer I would try and do my own spin on a motovlog, and like I said, kind of speak more on the subject matter of, I guess, just personal development in general and mindset stuff. So I never was really good at speaking as I am at writing, I've found, and I always wished I could put my thoughts together well on the fly, speaking as good as I could write. But I figured maybe this is a way that will put me in a uncomfortable place to kind of learn and grow into that thing I always wished I could be better at. So yeah, bear with me for the first little while as I get used to trying to speak out thoughts and organize certain topics. Each episode is going to be a specific subject. Like I said, it might be a strategy or a tool I've learned in the past, either on my own or learned in school, or it might be just sharing certain perspectives, one that you need to hear at the time. And I also hope you counter my perspectives or share your current perspectives. I think it's always good to constantly be challenging our perspectives and making sure that it aligns with where we're at in life right now, or if it needs to be changed. Like I said, I am going to try and do this as safe as I possibly can. I've been trying to seek out some of the best and most scenic back roads I can find, and I found that going around 60 kilometers an hour at the fastest is probably going to be the best way to go for just reaction time. There are a ton of deer here running in the hills. Like, I don't know how many times I've come around the corner and they're just so desensitized. They're just sitting on the road or sitting on the side of the road. They don't even flinch. But then you're always wondering if they're gonna flinch and jump in front of you. And yeah, I've been spooked a couple times coming around corners fairly quick and flew past a deer, and it would have been too late if he was any further out on the road or decided to jump out. So especially if I'm trying to coordinate certain subjects and talking about certain things, getting caught up in my head on some things, I want to make sure at the same time I got that reaction time. So anyways, I hope you guys continue to follow along. Hope you subscribe and share with your friends if you think they'll appreciate this type of stuff. And until next time, I'll catch you guys on the next one.